Welcome back, everybody. It's time for another Daily Nipah, Rika Furude Simulator 25. If you'd like to join us, socksmakepeoplesexy.itch.io. It's free. Come tempt your fates with me, and let us know how you're doing. Love to see it. No Nipatsies yet, 2,000 rolls. We're starting off a little bit heavier at the beginning because we're listening to the podcast, which will continue in a second. Probably only 2 more days of the podcast, so if you like the bite-sized versions a little better, we'll be returning to those. But I have been enjoying the heck out of this podcast. But first, Rika. Oh, she's got her cat habit on. I got the same thing. She said, "Oh, God, yes." I have her exact outfit actually. Except for... Oh, even the eye look is on point. It's exactly the same. Let's go. Yeah. Head pats for Rika. You get to sit next to me, Rika. Alright, let's get one rolling here. Nipah, the double Nipah. And away we go.
I've had it like in the old install folder for a while now, and it's just haven't gotten around to it yet, but absolutely want to. Like this, yeah, like everything about like what I've read about it, the people that I've talk about it. It's like, yep, that's a me
Awesome.
jam if ever there was one.
Yeah, I think this one just it all comes together so well.
Yeah.
I want to play. I really want to play 10 beautiful postcards, and I really want to play 50 short games. Where he literally took like a month and a half and made a new game on Glorious Trainwrecks every day for 50 days, and then put it all together with a launcher.
That's impressive.
So cool.
Nerd.
All right, so if that is your number 4, then I do believe we have what I believe to be our final audio list of the year.
The final countdown.
The final countdown. Now you know we're getting into the thick of it. The final audio list of the year comes from our good pal Sunday.
Yay, Sunday!
And I will be pressing play on that in 3.
3.
1.
Beautiful
go.
roll there, Polly.
Hi Socks, Sunday here. Here are my
Hi.
top 3 games for the year. First of all, we have Pangya Reborn. This is a Korean golf MMO private server, and I just remember like the first day that I opened it, I just smiled from ear to ear the entire time. Like, I was just overjoyed at like being in that space and like witnessing that community and also dressing up the little characters. It's so cute. Yeah, I just like was filled with joy the entire time, and it's been really nice like seeing that community kind of thrive and, you know, kind of like take ownership of this defunct game. And I've learned that I just really love that. Like, I love kind of seeing the alternate histories or alternate presence that private servers can kind of map out. You know, I've been playing TF2 Classic. There's a Minecraft mod for the beta version that imagines like a separate development track it could have gone on. I just really like the idea of kind of creating an alternate history for what a game could have been. And cultivating like a very small community around that where you tend to see the same players over and over again.
Huh.
It's beautiful.
Hey.
After that, my number 2 game, Home R Where the Heart Is.
Home
so
R
I'm
Where
fairly
the Heart.
certain this was featured in an event that Nilsson put on, Nilsson from Vextro. And first of all, I think it just opened me up to like how games could interact with those fine art spaces. I think I'm very interested in that, and
Sure.
honestly, it's something that I'd maybe want to incorporate.
Ooh.
Someday, maybe.
Okay.
But I don't know, just like when I opened this game, you know, I've played like 50 short games. I've played like a couple other games that are like little kind of one system sketches and stuff like that. And this is the game that finally made it click for me. Like, oh yeah, I'm like super invested in games being this. Like, I love the idea of a game that is just like one interaction that is like very evocative. And just like seeing what you can do with that and letting a game kind of be its own installation. That really excites me. But the number 1 game for me of 2024, you'll be happy to hear this. It's Seabed.
Yeah!
it just captures so much about cognition and interpersonal relationships in a way that really interests me. And honestly, ever since I played that game, I like haven't looked at the world the same way. Is that strange to say? It's just one of those games. It's a game that describes everything in such intimate detail. And the entire time you're thinking, why is it doing this if I still don't understand what's happening? And it strings you along like that for a while until suddenly it just all clicks into place and your whole schema for thought has been wrapped around what this game's themes are.
Schema for
recommend
thought.
to just anybody, you know, and there is Yuri. So, yeah, #1 game. Thank you to everybody here who recommended that I play that. So appreciated. Alright, looking forward to 2025. Maybe this one will actually be the year of the Vita. I didn't really play it that much this year.
Vita means life, by the way.
Absolutely. Saga never dies.
Seabed, getting its due,
Yeah.
baby. Let's
That's
go.
2 mentions.
Nice.
Killer. Video games are so good, y'all. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I like
Shout out to
video games
Nelson. Holy
quite a
shit.
bit. Yeah. Solid list.
Also 250 short game mentions in a row.
Yeah, that was good. Again, we can't know that's gonna happen because we don't know each other's lists, so that's really fun.
Sunday was really sweet while I was taking a drawing class this year.
Aw.
Really appreciated it.
I do believe we have another listener list, though. Rhett,
One more.
help us
Well,
out here.
This was posted by Durante in the Discord. I guess it counts. This list says Death of a Wish, Game of the Year / Game of the Decade,
Fuck yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth runner-up, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth honorable mention, Dragon Quest III honorable mention.
I
is
do
there a
like
new
Dragon
one, a
Quest
remake
III.
of that?
There is a Dragon Quest 3
There
remake,
is a
yes.
like
Okay,
it's an
Seems like it's good. It seems pretty
HD.
good.
It's an
Okay.
HD 2D remake. It's like
I'm
Octopath.
assuming it's the new one,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah,
I don't actually know.
Yeah, that was the one they played.
Yeah, it looks like Octopath.
So that's
You
another-
look
that's another
like
thing for, like, the Dragon
Octopath.
and for FF7 Rebirth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you got to
And
say
so
about
Death
that,
of a Wish
Polly?
fucking rules. I played the first hour. I have to be in a specific mood to play a Devil May Cry like, but it seems like it's the sequel to Luca Born of a Dream, and it feels really tight. It seems really, really strong, y'all. I'm really excited to dig deep on it.
Okay, closing out this list is Metaphor. It'd be mean to leave it off just because I only started playing it in December and it's a lot of fun.
I don't know if that'd be mean.
Yeah, like I'm kind of excited to give that game a look. I like with Persona 3 Reload. Like, okay, I'm ready to love again. Fine, we'll do it. Like, I'll do it. I'll try it. And everybody that I've talked to that's played Metaphor ReFantazio seemed to have a really good time with it. And spoken pretty highly of how it handles its politics. So I'm really eager to see, given Atlas.
Yeah. Actually, I just realized that's another list with Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor.
Yep. A lot of crossover there.
The saviors of JRPG,
Yeah.
turn-based.
Turn-based RPGs are the future, people. That's where it really
Killer.
is. All right.
Been waiting for this
are we
turn-based
ready for the
RPG
Oh,
era
man, we're in there.
that we've
Are we
missed.
ready to cross over into the cream of the
Cross the
crop, the
Rubicon.
very best?
boy.
Are we ready?
Cream of the crop.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. So, I don't know about how you feel about this, but for me, it's honestly the best feeling in the world when a long journey finally pays off. When you finish something that you started a number of years ago, and it actually sticks to landing on everything it's mostly trying to do. My number 3 is Mary Skelter Finale.
Yes, I was wondering when that was gonna show
So I
up.
began this journey back in, I think it was 2018 when Nightmares.
Top 3, not bad.
in the States.
2018.
In 2024, I have finally put a cap on the Mary Skelter series. I can say without a
Nice.
doubt, absolutely a journey that was worth taking.
Awesome.
If ever, like, I guess maybe it comes with a caveat. Like, if ever there was a dungeon crawler marketed to and created exactly for me, it would have to be Mary Skelter. Like, it's grimdark and edgy and stylish in all of these little chuny ass high school ways. Loads of cute girls. They're all over the place. The game's just brimming with cute girls. Fantastic characters.
Brimming with cute girls.
Story.
I love it.
It could just be visual novels, and it would be like still 70 to 80 hours a piece. Like,
my goodness.
This is not a game that skimps on the stories. It is a series that has always had, I think, a very unique identity. Like, I think that, like, when I look at this game, like, I can't think of anything that looks like what it's going for visually. And that's something that just kind of always stood out. And I think that carries through to its gameplay, where it tries to do unique things with its dungeon crawling by giving every character a unique ability that works in the dungeon for you to solve puzzles with. And then there's the nightmare aspect, where you have unbeatable bosses that can only be beaten once you've made a certain amount of progress into the dungeon.
Really?
If they corner you have to fucking knock them down and run.
Oh.
You actually have to run away from them. Like, they appear as an enemy. Like, it's not like a random encounter or anything. They just pop up, they start chasing you, and your map goes away. So you've got to just kind of like hope that
nightmare mode
where you were in the dungeon, because those things can actually just really fuck your day up. And yes, this is a series that does have enough of that Idea Factory jank that will probably deter a lot of people, but I thoroughly enjoyed every game in this series, and I think Finale just wraps everything up like it in a really good way. I think that my favorite part of it is that, and it works. This functions as both like gameplay and story. Is that every character in this story is important, and every character in the gameplay is important, because the main cast gets split up into 3 separate groups very early on in the story. And so you now have 3 unique groups that you are in control of throughout the entire game, and you have to use every single character. Like, you can't just like, oh, I like these 5 characters.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll carry them through, and that'll be it. You can't. Because every team has exactly 5 members, and you have to use them all. And there is no like, and I think that's
so smart.
It really is. It does bog things down when you have to like stop and re-equip everybody and learn skills and reclass. It does make that part of the game way longer.
I can see that being
maybe
frustrating.
A little more tedious because you are outfitting 15 characters.
The Trails
or normal Trails game.
Yeah, there you go. It's a normal Trails game. This is literally like a third the size of a Trails game at this point. But I like that they make it work both in terms of gameplay and story, and like the dungeon crawling is also the way like everybody loves the final dungeon of Final Fantasy VI, right? Where you get 3 big parties that you have to like attack from all, like, you know, you have to attack the final dungeon from different angles. And this entire game is that. You have 3 parties,
3
and they
paths.
all work to like solve each dungeon floor in tandem, and you have to like sometimes pass items back and forth, or one team has to solve a puzzle on their side to open up doors, or open up or change the geography of something on another team's side. So you're always kind of hopping back and forth, and the game does a good job of letting you know when a team has made progress to a point where they can't progress anymore and do need somebody else to do something. I think that's actually really smart. So when you go into like the party select screen, you
don't have to wait.
It's like, you know, this team's done everything that they
yes,
can do right now.
thank you. That's already a great option.
I think that's really smart.
That lacks in a lot of older games. Yes.
With like
yes.
Dungeons, like, and you know, these things are like 50 by 50 or like 60 to 60.
Especially with that big of a dungeon,
And that's a lot in a dungeon.
Oh, straight.
Those are huge maps. I guess, like, I don't feel that Mary Skelter finale could have done more. Like, I feel like it did.
Sounds like it landed it all the way you needed it to.
Yeah, like it maybe a couple of story beats didn't land all that great, but in the end, like, I feel like this is a cast where I genuinely cared that they got the ending they deserved. Like, it is like seeing a blue sky for the first time in this series. That was weirdly emotional. Like, not only for the characters, but for me. Like, I was just like, they've never shown it. They've never had the chance to see an outside world. And it was just like, holy shit. I wasn't prepared for how hard that punched me in the chest.
Yeah.
And then
I can see
an
that.
epilogue visual novel included. Well, there's a shit ton of stuff included with Finale that I won't go over. I'll just say that game oversells. Like, that game gives you way more than what you paid for.
Nice.
But there's an epilogue visual novel that takes place after the true finale of the game, where you can, as the protagonist, Jack, the boy, you can marry the girl of your choice.
Yeah!
Oh, it's still a Trails game.
But I read them all, and they all work. And I think the reason why is because they've spent so much time over the course of this game making these character relationships feel real and tangible that, like, even if, like, Alice is very clearly the obvious canon choice.
Sure.
Like, there's no doubt about that from the first moment that you start Nightmares. It's like, oh yeah, these two are a thing. They will be a thing. But the way all of the characters' dynamics has worked, and the way that they've written their interactions over the course of these 3 games, even if you just choose to marry the girl you like the most, it doesn't feel weird or forced. It just feels like a thing that's like, yeah, that feels pretty natural.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
And I was not expecting that. Like, I went into that little epilogue visual novel kind of planning to be eye-rolly about, like, oh, yeah, let's do the harem thing now. And another thing that I like is they actually respect the canonical gay relationship.
Let's do the harem thing now. Roll eyes.
Have any kind of romantic interest in the gay couple that are already a couple. I think that's actually pretty rad.
Good.
In fact, they get their own little marriage scene at the end of the game too. Like, and I think that's really, really good. But, like, again, this is like probably like the most me choice any game could be.
Hey, what's up,
like,
Sellock?
everything about this series has just been me from start to finish. I just loved everything about it through all the jank.
I'll pause it for a second. We're listening to the Game of the Year podcast. From Polly and Company, and we're playing Rika Furude Simulator, aka doing the Daily Nipah right now. The purpose of the Daily Nipah, in case you haven't seen, the never-ending June of 1983 tragedy that repeats itself violently over and over. One girl's resolve slowly deteriorates as she travels to fragments looking for one world where she finally breaks free for her future. The one world she rolls all sixes. Now you turn to embark on a never-ending journey with her. So that's the story. And now, for this week, since the end of the year has a Game of the Year podcast, this is my first year going into it. We're listening to the Game of the Year podcast as well, which has Polly, Rhett, and John talking about their top 10 games while listeners submit lists of their top 3 and some honorable mentions. And yeah, this is free to download up in the top left, socksmakingpeoplesexy.ish.io, if you want to go download it yourself. The leaderboard is on the right side of your screen there. We have a bunch of miracles that you could see. Ours is number 4. It took us 18,511 fates to get the miracle. The true miracle, of course, is all 6s. And we're going again. Honestly, most of everything else that we've done with the straights, 4 houses, triple doubles, double triples, and the KRs keep rolling, which is very specific. But most of that has just come on a side spawn from starting the Daily Nipah. And but you've caught us mid podcast week, actually more towards the end. There's only a couple hours left in the podcast. It was about 7 hours long.
No.
And Polly's explaining her third here,
It's just fantastic.
which
Like,
is Mary
It's
Skelter.
not a series that I can easily recommend to people because I know it's like 3 80-hour dungeon crawlers. They're kind of janky. They're not always the most balanced thing in the world. But man, the story really gets there.
I've heard Rika say that.
I mean, it's just fucking rules when studios make these game series that are legitimately committed to their fiction.
Yeah,
the
like
whole
this
time.
is a series that has like spin-off novels and shit.
Mhm.
Like this is literally Idea Factory Compile Heart's passion project. Like
Yeah.
it hasn't like it has a defined start and ending.
How you been,
It has
Sellock?
A lot of little side stories that
Happy
it
holidays.
helps paint the universe. Again, just flabbergasted at how good this thing has remained.
This is her third,
Considering-
too. I'm very curious
so
on
good.
Polly's number 1 and 2.
Idea Factory Redemption arc.
You know, I remember at one time I wrote them off after Death End Request pissed me off, but
I do remember that.
but then Mary Skelter Nightmares was like, oh wait, no, you're edgy and chuny in all the ways that I love things to be.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Mary Skelter's
I'm
the
so
shit.
glad, I'm really glad you got to. I remember how much fun you had with the first 2 games,
Oh,
and I was wanting just at every step I was wanting for you to get to this one and have
Yeah.
it just land exactly the way you'd want it to.
and it did. Like, and I am so happy that like
Triple double.
Like, I love that it had a happy
Triple double.
ending. I love that it felt genuinely earned. Like, it's just, you know, you've struggled all 3 games to get here, and it feels so amazingly good to finally, again, just seeing Blue Sky was just, like, I literally audibly gasped out loud the first time, because I'd never seen it in these games before.
I mean, it's just a social
Awesome.
media
So
app,
awesome.
Polly. Come on now.
Anyway, that's my Mary Skelter
Wink, wink.
finale spiel.
Cool.
I do believe
Happy holidays. Just got back and from
Sean.
visiting family
I
stateside.
do have a
Nice.
listener list
you got a
from Millie.
listener
you.
list from Millie.
Long time socks.
Hope you had a good time.
Wow,
Melly?
I actually played some video games this year.
Your
Here's my
birthday
picks.
today, I
Number
think.
3, Idle Nightmare 2, Sabbath. The latest collab between one-man video game factory Adrian Dittrich and pixel artist extraordinaire June Flower is, as the title suggests, an idle clicker game with a twist. Grind your way through your mundane day job or slip off to the dark woods to become something more. 3 unique endings, all obtainable in maybe half an hour if you know what you're doing. 18 plus, they cooked. Fuck yeah.
Hahaha.
You've got 18 plus idle clicker.
Yeah,
Hell
right.
yeah. Hell yeah. Number 2, Anthology of the Killer.
Hey.
Another in a row there. Maybe cheating a bit because it's more like 9 games and a funny wrapper. But in the year of UFO 50, I don't feel bad about that. Nobody does it like Stephen Gilmurphy. I would die for BB and ZZ. Yep. Or become a future murder victim, as the case may be. Fantastic. Number 1, Atlas, spelled ATLYSS.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting the early access big booty furry bait online RPG to be the thing that completely assumed me for the better part of a month. But 100 plus hours of playtime later, here we are. Its MMOisms are simplified enough for my baby gamer abilities, and the movement is fun enough to warrant hours of parkour trying to get out of bounds with friends. And I've met
Parkour.
a surprising amount of cool people just jumping into random online lobbies, running dungeons, or just shooting the shit, or doing other things furries are known for that I'll leave to your imagination. Either way, the vibes are on point, and if its particular aesthetic doesn't put you off, there's a lot of enjoyment to be had just existing in this space. Awesome. Fucking awesome.
Nice.
Like, a good
Nice.
year for early access and betas and demos, huh?
Yeah.
Good year.
That's 2 for Anthology of the Killer. It's on par with FF7
There you
Reaper.
go.
And also on par with Planet Nutrition.
Now I just gotta get Rhett to put Anthology of the Killer on there. It's gonna put it right
Oh, it's
over.
coming, don't worry. Maybe not this year, actually, though.
All right, Rhett, what's next?
So
Number
every year, you and I like to make a joke thing where we write like Ret Game of the Year 25.txt
Rika.
and list what we think are going to be our top 10 games of the year. And they're always wildly wrong.
Every time, no
I
matter
did
what.
Naturally.
this too, and mine, like, I don't think a goddamn thing I predicted ended up on my list.
Well, for once, one of my predictions was correct. simply because I think I've been listing it for the last 4 years.
And he made a hell of a climb.
My number 3 is
Oh.
Outer Wilds.
Damn! About
I was waiting for
time.
this one.
I started this
Outer
in
Wilds?
2020.
Jesus
Oh my goodness.
Christ. You love
I
it when a
thought-
saga has a good ending.
I started this in 2020 and then immediately started Trail Zero at the same time and got super hooked into that because Trail Zero ended up being my game of the year. And then Outer Wilds had some things that you needed to give full attention to it.
Well, they just
Close
announced that
enough.
sequel,
It's a
right?
Bunvoid.
No.
Yeah, they literally
This is by the
did just
Fallout
announce a
people,
sequel.
right? This is the Fallout New Vegas devs, right?
Yep, Obsidian.
Fuck off. There comes a point where people are like so unironically still making this confusion. Outer Wilds is the time loop.
Yeah, I know.
Indie
I
game.
know.
It is not the Outer Worlds.
Come on, Rhett, you gotta appreciate a good bit.
Gotta appreciate a bit that just completely derails you in the middle of your thought.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I started playing this with Trail Zero of all things. Since then, I played Azure, 4 Cold Steel games, Referee, Daybreak, and then I finally got back to Outer Wilds.
Took a
Incredible.
while.
And obviously, I just started over because I didn't remember anything.
Wait, you took a break to play Zero?
Yeah,
That's so funny.
it was that long ago. It was 2020, a
God.
year we kind of forgot about. This game's really, really, really interesting because it's not like anything I've ever played. It is almost like a text-based narrative game in 3D with full movement and flying around your spaceship and stuff. But the vast majority of what you
Really?
actually do is read, and that
Oh, I didn't
really,
know that.
really threw me the first time. Like, what is interesting about this game is that, well, besides the story itself, but like mechanically, you do very little. You have so few verbs compared to most games. Like, you have a spaceship that you fly around to get places. It's not really involved in any of the puzzles. You have like a radio that you can point and scan signals for. You have like a drone that you can shoot out and take pictures with. And I think that might be it.
Yep.
So like, you've basically got like 3 tools,
Okay.
and the way they make puzzles that don't feel like puzzles, they're invisible. You just have to know very, very specific interactions will do a thing. So it's this game where you can just fly anywhere in the entire solar system from the start and just get extremely lost and confused as to what's going on. And the vast majority of the game is just finding these alien text logs and reading them and piecing together what is going on in this solar system.
Cool. Fucking cool.
And there's just this very small handful of true puzzle moments that, again, are invisible. Like, you don't realize the puzzle is there or what the game is asking you to do until you've read the specific text log and go, oh, is this gonna work? And then you do it and it does, and you're like, oh, holy shit. Like, there's one specific area, well, there's the tutorial at the start of the game, and there's one area in the game that's like,
Yeah, what's
an
up,
actual
MTI
training
and Mario?
facility that very bluntly teaches you something.
Mm-hmm.
But like, the real important stuff is just these invisible world puzzles, and it's super
God,
neat.
it's so fucking cool.
I've watched a lot of people like play this game or talk about it. Like, I noticed like there's always like the one moment that jumps out to people, and it's different for everyone. It's not like one specific thing that happens. Like, every planet has like a fellow alien explorer in the same race as you, and they're always like playing a musical instrument. You find them with the radio or like the signal receiver, and if you fly to the edge of the solar system and you point you point your radio thing at the string of planets,
Sure.
like all their signals will line up and they're playing a song together, it turns out, and like you get a Steam achievement for that. And like,
God.
I've seen somebody mention that was like the moment for the game for them.
Hey, Mark.
My moment in this game wasn't so happy. Oops, sorry.
Oh
okay.
no! Oh no!
I forget how to exactly describe it, but it's like basically, despite like the goofiness of the game and like the gravity physics being really, really silly, and like it is so easy to die in this game from falling or flinging your spaceship into the sun. Like, because you have infinite respawns, like they play with that, and it can be a little frustrating. But this, deep down, like, I think they care about the science and like the mechanics of the world. This is actually also a hard space simulator.
Oh.
And basically my moment with the game was just staring into the void of space and realizing how truly insignificant and tiny we are on a cosmic scale.
It's a
Sure,
fantastic thing for a video game to help you feel, though.
Like,
That's a moment.
Yeah.
that's a moment, but there's more to it. Like, where Aquarium was like the game I cried the most at
Fantastic game.
in like a kind of bittersweet happy way, this one got me to cry from like pure despair and horror
Yeah!
and just emptiness, I guess I would describe. There's another moment in this where it felt like this game violated an unspoken rule between developer and player,
Oh.
where it really, really hurt me.
Wow.
I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying like, oh, wow, you caught me off guard here. Like, I didn't understand the nature of what we were doing here. It's a lot more than I thought, huh?
Oh.
And then the ending of this game goes real hard when you finally figure out, like, I had a general idea the whole time of what, because like the game doesn't tell you what the overall goal to beating it is. It's just,
It just kind of lets you play around
Yeah.
and it just kind of happens.
yeah. And another thing that
Right.
happens is that 22 minutes in, the sun explodes, and you go back to the start, and it says, do it again.
Oh.
It's Majora's Mask all over again.
I forgot about that bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Never played
so
Majora's
the
Mask.
goal is piecing together the mystery of these aliens on these planets and figuring out what your goal to the end game is. Because there is a way to beat it, obviously, but it doesn't tell you what you're supposed to be doing. And the ending is pretty insane.
Keep rolling.
Yeah, I just think this is an incredibly unique piece of software.
Yeah.
I haven't played the DLC. I tried to start it, and then like the ship went the wrong way, and I'm like, oh, this is annoying. I'll come back later, and then I didn't. But I will probably definitely play the DLC next year.
Nice.
That's awesome. This one
Heavy
looks so
game.
good.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
I feel like
I think you guys would get a kick out of this.
Yeah, despite like the 22-minute thing, which I think would just initially be a thing that is annoying until you understand like this is just what this game is doing. This is not like a
It's
punishment.
very, very important.
Yeah, it's like it's not a punishment. You're just kind of like you're just
Hey,
figuring
coach.
things out, and it feels
Yeah.
like so long as you just like figure more shit out each time, which it sounds like the game's pretty good at
That's a
nudge
straight.
that way.
30th straight now.
Yeah, like this definitely is one that I really feel like I need to get on.
Yeah.
It has a very good like
Sit right on
system
top
of
and
showing
slide it
you
in.
connections between things that you read.
Yeah,
even
that feels
even if you
important.
didn't actually read it, like the game thinks you did.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
But you can piece together and kind of feel like what thread seems like I need to pull on it more and maybe
Yeah.
investigate a little more.
Keep rolling.
Yeah, it's really neat. I had something on the
I
tip
like
of
it.
Oh yeah, the one thing is that this game truly demands your full attention because it really doesn't come together until like the last 10%. Because I remember being like pretty far in and being like, I don't know where this is all going.
Oh,
Please,
we passed
is
for
it-
Kraken
please
now.
somebody-
Please stick the landing.
And in my mentions, like
So now
trust the
it's-
process, and they're totally
Still get
right.
top 3 though.
Like when that web coalesces and you see the full picture, you're like, holy fucking shit, man! What? It's all connected. Every single thing.
Everything is connected.
It's like aliens came to your solar system and they built a Rube Goldberg machine that involves like 7 different planets.
Fantastic.
It's crazy.
Yeah. This game has always sounded rad. So
Yeah.
I can't wait.
There is a bit of a learning curve to jumping into it because it uses the momentum of your spaceship as like comedy.
Yeah,
But dying it over and over can get frustrating.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like like
Oh,
I
yeah.
said, it definitely seems to be a game where you need to get over the idea that dying is a punishment.
Yeah.
It's more of just like, this is just part of the process. Just relax and enjoy yourself.
Just die.
Yeah. That's my number 3.
Awesome. Good job. Good ride, guys.
Got ourselves another listener list.
Ooh, woo, woo,
So it comes
woo.
in from our loyal dog, Maple.
Our loyal dog.
Maple says, just hey, here's some games. We start with Opus Echo of Star Song.
Rico Wembanyama.
This game is legitimately one of the best narrative games I've played this year. The characters are all so good, and the story is very compelling. I cried so hard at the end because it was so good, and have one of the final scenes as my desktop background. That's how good it is.
That's pretty good.
2, Beacon Pines. A cute narrative game that has a really neat mechanic and a really good story. Its cutesy art hides its deep story and interesting twists. I like the characters in this game.
That is
I think
correct.
there are a lot of good characters.
Zest.
And 3, Homebody. A horror game I've heard no one talk about, but is so good and is so genuinely scary. It's the Groundhog
Homebody?
Day of horror games.
Oh,
that
well.
makes you wonder what's gonna happen next. And that
Groundhog's
do
Day is
be
kind of a horror itself.
Maple's list.
Thank you, Maple.
Maple is just like the champion of like cool offbeat Steam games.
Yeah,
specifically.
Are you
The things
fucking
Maple
me
posts
today,
links to
Rika?
at
I hope
times, like, they're
not.
all just like, this, I
But
never
Jesus
would've thought
Christ,
this
what are
would
these
work.
roles?
It's so good.
Opus especially is one like that's at the top of the list, and that's obviously the one that I think looks the most interesting as well. Of the ones that I've seen them post. So yeah.
This isn't a wild day,
All right,
Rika.
John, it's number 3 time. You gotta do it.
Well, it did take
Well,
me
I gotta pull up the
18,500
list
attempts the
because I need
first
to add
time,
to the
Zest.
number here. My number 3 is Seabed.
Seabed!
That's 3, baby.
Yep. No, I think
Spread
both-
that
oh, yeah.
seed bed.
Yeah, we both played it this year.
Yeah.
It's been on my radar for a long time because Cecile loves it. It's been
Like,
I've been
Cecile-
wanting to play it for years.
Yeah, Cecile and Sayara are the 2 people that championed this game long before we got to it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god! I think I think Cecile pointed Zyra at it, so like she really did like get this on the community radar. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean everything you said. I think what I want to add is I fucking love the production in this game because it's so Dojin.
Yeah,
So-
like it gives an energy. The way like that it works with its background, its character art is like it's not bad. It's just not like, oh, you're not like, this is not anime studio character sprites. These are
It's
sprites drawn by a dude.
it's the backgrounds are all either edited photos like Higurashi or
Best.
Blender CGs. They're Blender environments that get passed through a filter. It looks it's so good.
I'm always gonna be a big fan of filtered backgrounds for visual.
Whacked into oblivion.
The
The frying
photo was
pan.
really- It looks so cheap. It's great.
Oh, it's great though.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so good.
There's like a very tactful number of CGs and character art. And the character art looks fucking great. I love this artist. He makes such pretty girls.
Oh, the aunt, man.
Oh my
I
God.
want to go on a date with the aunt so much.
Such pretty girls.
Such pretty girls, Polly.
Yep, they're all gorgeous. Like Dr. Hibiki. She's so
Ah, woman.
need.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, this is the I think the longest like capital Y Yuri VN I've read.
Capital
And
Y.
I think one thing I also want to, so I really like and also all the music is like public
Public domain. Yeah.
royalty free music. Fuck yeah. So it's just like it's this huge script told in a very in like basically the least pretentious way possible. It still sings as a VN just because the character art is so gorgeous. The one other thing is I think that it's like I think the ending is extremely sweet. Like I don't want to sell the game to folks as being like a really downer.
No,
like
it's not a downer at all. It's
great.
Is a beautiful ending.
Yeah.
It's absolutely riveting. It's just I've never seen this type of story climax that way.
Oh my.
It made really good. I remember at one point being like, "Oh, it's like," and then I named an anime, and then Cecile went, "I haven't watched that anime, John. Just trust me." But yeah, it's just.
Oh wait,
Here,
that's
I
not
pulled
a
up my little review. I wrote.
not a triple double. You almost
Seabed-
lied to me, game.
Seabed is as affecting a story as any visual novel I've read.
Almost
I don't have
lied
much
to
say
me.
Beyond that wouldn't spoil the shape of the story, but if you're up for the slowest of slow burns and you appreciate the ends with grown-up theming that don't talk down to you, give this one a read.
Yeah, like that. I just really appreciated the maturity of the story, and I continually appreciated the prose and the way that it was. Again, it's written not like a light novel. It's not written like a visual novel. It's written like a novel-ass novel. And I
Novel-ass
like
novel.
Yeah, it's if there's anything that feels amateurish, it's just that they, you can tell they did not want to cut out anything.
Yeah, like they wanted everything in there, and sometimes that doesn't
You
always
kind of
work.
get it. You kind of get why they like. You want it, the story is shaped like a spiral. You're just going inwards into the center of this relationship.
Yeah.
And every little moment that doesn't seem to really tie with anything, it's all part of that.
It all
It's so
like you
beautiful.
look back at those moments that like didn't feel like they were doing anything. When you get to that climax, and it's all, like it was all leading to this. Like, you needed those moments for this moment to land, and it's just like, fuck, dude.
Oh man,
Seabed.
When I booted up the game, literally like the first 10 minutes was like the prose voice is kind of like, to me, like some of the best parts of Higurashi, where like the kind of the character voice sort of backs off a little bit,
And it's
And
more
it's-
authory.
it's very author. It's very
Or horrifying.
I was just reading it like, this is like one of the most gorgeous like kinds of prose voices I see in VNs. I was just immediately kind of gripped by it.
Yeah. Like you could print this off. You could print this script off and just make it a book, and it would be fine.
Well, you already
really
did it
nice
once
when
on Void.
Someone close to you points you out of the end and points you at a game, and you get to play it together, and you have a really good time. Made me happy. So yeah, Seabed, absolute turbo banger.
Absolutely.
VNs are fucking great, y'all.
I love me some VNs.
And I really like it when girls are in love.
It's so sweet, isn't it?
I really like it when women love each other.
God, these two, like, I just keep coming back. Like, even like long after I finished this game, I just kept coming back to all their cute little interactions. Like, they are so unbelievably in love with one another, but it's like, again, it's not like these overly wrought, dramatic declarations of love or anything. They're just like, they're just doing normal everyday things together, but the way they interact with one another is just so incredibly sweet and believable as two people who are in love.
One of them is like so restrained and kind of withholding with her feelings that it
There's a
almost seems like she
triple-double.
doesn't like the other one.
Yeah,
the longer you luxuriate in the story, you just realize like, oh no, this is that little moment there. That was her expressing her love.
That was her expressing love. Yeah, it's so, man. It's just it digs so well into these characters and how they get expressed and and Takako is just. She's loud,
double triple.
and fun, and expressive, and she just perfectly balances everything out.
It's a new, maybe it's like top 2, top 3 Homer eroticas of all time.
Yeah, it's good shit.
All right, that's my number 3.
Love Seabed. Good one.
Love Seabed.
All
Ooh,
right,
you got a list for us.
Red listener list time.
I've got one of the longest ones right here.
All
You
right.
ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Getting comfy.
This comes in from
Specifically for listening to the
Sylvie.
podcast.
Sylvie.
Oh,
Games of the
Sylvie.
Makai Toshi Saga.
Specifically for while we listen to the podcast, this is like almost a Christmas special. We're gonna listen to the entirety of the podcast, which has just about say an hour and a half left. We're probably gonna listen to about 400 rules worth today, and then we'll finish it up tomorrow, and then we'll go back to the regular Daily Nipah format of 200 a day. But this is a special. I really wanted to listen to the Game of the Year podcast. It's been really exciting so far. Lots of interesting games. And I'm really curious to hear what everybody's number 1 has been on here.
Romancing Saga and Saga Frontier.
Saga Frontier. I haven't heard
That's
about
it.
that game in a while. Oh,
Red, I'm starting to think Red gave himself that one for a reason.
Listen, this one came
Ah!
in well after the
Ah!
deadline. We're in the weeds now.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, I'm giving myself that one.
These are coming in at like 6 and 7 a.m. Eastern time while Red's just snoozing along.
Yeah.
That was our next chance to get another Final Fantasy 2 mention, but unfortunately, Sylvie also played 7 Saga games. So
Jesus Christ!
she played
Seven
She
Saga.
played 6. She skipped Legend 3. She played 6 Saga games and Final Fantasy 2.
nice.
That's
This year.
insane.
Yeah.
And now she's gonna go riff on those in some really brilliant way that'll make me mad that I didn't think of it.
Yep. Oh yeah, we know it. We all know it.
Oh boy!
Thank you, Sylvie.
Thank you so much, Sylvie. Appreciate the contribution. Oh boy! Guess we are now officially
We're
in it,
in
aren't
it.
we? Oh my god! So, oh god.
Number 2.
So,
Oh, you told me there was a potential for a flip here.
I'm not kidding when
Uh-oh.
I say this. This is not a bit. All the
Uh-oh.
way up until now, this very second, I have not decided my number 2 end game of the year. I have been.
Wow.
Dude, my brain has been deadlocked in this decision for 2 months or more. And every iteration of my list has had 2 games at the top, and there's just never been a clear winner.
Is
I
this
literally just decided to
what
make a
is
choice
today?
right here as we're recording
Oh
it,
my god.
and living with it. Once it's done, no do-overs, no take-backsies, whatever comes out of my mouth here.
Oh,
it.
here we go.
And like, I want to just make it clear that both games have occupied a very large point of my braining over the last year. Both are games that, like, I actively seek
What's up,
out
Fashion?
so many people to
Good
talk
to
about
see you.
them with, because I feel like there are works that are enhanced.
This is a
by
lot of fun.
Engaging with others and hearing their thoughts.
Before Polly continues here with her number 2 on the Game of the Year, if you want to join in on this, you can download it from the link in the top left, socksmayfeelsexy.itch.io. This is called Rika Furude Simulator. She is very nice. She's a tiny little thing, isn't she? In her little cat outfit. But we got to roll the 6 sixes to win. We've gotten, what was it today? I think we've gotten, we've 3 times today. We've gotten 5 6s with a different die. 3 times. That's insane. All right, let's continue.
Games had an incredible impact on me this year. Like, one from the standpoint of guess like the enormity of what I feel like it's doing, and the other just hit me in the feels real good. And as you know, around these parts, games always score real well when they make us cry.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
What is
I'm
it,
going to
Polly?
rip the bandage off now.
You still haven't chosen Oh, you've chosen in your heart. You know what the answer is, Polly. Tell us the answer.
I hope you heard the pain in that sigh.
You've already made the decision. You know it. You just need to accept it now.
My number 2. I think that every year there is always a game on my list where I say, this did not snag the number 1, but this is important and I want everyone to play it.
It's Rika Fruity Simulator, isn't it?
This is a game where when I saw the trailer,
Oh.
I knew 10 seconds in.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That's my jam.
Yeah. There it is.
My number 2 is 1,000 times resist.
Oh, yes.
So,
okay.
What is
Okay.
1,000 times resist? It is a...
I've heard her talk about this a
It's the big
lot.
one, dude. I'm not even spoiling it. I want you to go look up 1,000 times resist trailer and then just watch the first 10 seconds. You'll know why.
Yeah.
This is a game where I literally only heard about it somehow a month before it came out. I saw the first 10 seconds of their trailer and closed the browser and said, I'm buying your game day 1. And I did. And I fucking marathoned this game in a day.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Yes.
She loved it.
1,000 Resist is a sci-fi narrative-focused walking simulator game whose themes largely encompass like immigrant diaspora, generational trauma, and a very, very, very heavy focus on the struggle against depression. I guess the title kind of
Yeah.
So, to kind of like, I've got to explain this, and I'm going to try not to take up a lot of your time. So the game takes place in a society consisting solely of beings who have been created directly as copies of a figure known as the All-Mother. And All-Mother herself is...
The All-Mother.
An like all-powerful being that this entire futuristic sci-fi society revolves around. All the characters that are born into this world are born as clones of her, and they're just kind of shells. They don't have a color. Like it's very, sterile kind of like bodysuit. You're wearing all white. You all look kind of the same. And you may eventually become a Shapen sister, someone who has a specific function, like fixer or healer or something like that. And eventually, these Shapen sisters may be called to join All-Mother, and this kind of like adds a bit of like a religious bent to things.
Okay, I could see that.
So, the All-Mother herself is literally a bratty teenager named Iris, who is a daughter of 2 Hong Kong immigrants who escaped to Canada in the 2010s before Hong Kong was absorbed into China in 2047.
Oh.
So this game takes place in roughly 2048-ish. Iris became the All-Mother because she had an immunity to some kind of weird disease that wiped out humanity during an alien invasion. So the god of your new world is literally an angsty teen.
Wonderful.
And you primarily play the role of Watcher, a character whose sole purpose is to convene with your sisters and bear direct witness to the memories of the All-Mother, which basically just means you relive all of these various points of her life by directly entering her memories and being a part of them. And you go from her teen years during an alien invasion through the events that occur that create the society that you now exist in. And during her first communion, she ends up being hacked, and she gains information from an unlikely source that leads her to the fact that this entire society may very well be built on a lie that has persisted for 1,000 years.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
So the game then weaves back and forth through Iris's memories and like learning of the kind of person she was and the things she did, and the events of the present where Watcher is faced with a lot of very difficult decisions based on what she knows, and then the fallout of those decisions that she makes that you don't make as the player. The story is the story. This is a game that is just so full of stuff that I can't adequately summarize it. This is a game that is so full of so many moments that I couldn't stop and like name just one. Like there is a chapter, there is one chapter in particular that may well be like the most affecting and outright terrifying thing I've ever experienced in interactive fiction. I can't. You have to experience it, kind of thing.
Wow.
But on top of all that, though, like this is just a remarkably, really interesting world full of incredibly well-written characters, and you absolutely want to be running around the home base every chapter and talking to everybody.
Good.
Because this is that game where interact with everybody because everybody's got a story and it's really good. But this is basically
I like
a
that.
multi-layered story, and it's built for the future. Like it's a story that deals very specifically with the 2014 and 2019 Hong Kong protests and the repercussions of Hong Kong's absorption into China and what that means for an entire generation of people. It's a story that digs deep and tries to answer the question of like, how do you teach the next generation about your struggle and what you ultimately fought for and lost without also passing on that trauma?
Ooh.
The phrase that keeps coming up in the game is, there is a you that remains and remains and remains. And that just stuck with me.
What a lingering thought that is. Jesus.
You know, like...
How do you pass on what happens without the trauma
it is tackling so many heavy things, but I think that it does it in a way that is digestible through way of the story that it's telling through its sci-fi setting. Like, it's also very cool.
That's a good way to pause it. That is a heavy-ass thought to think about. How do you pass on your message, your meaning, when you lost without passing on the trauma with it? That is a very interesting thing to think about. I like just her explanation of the damn game. It's making me think.
Like, there are also a lot of very cool characters, a lot of great writing. But it's also a story that I think is important because it's very good at making the gravity of the history it's sharing and its rippling repercussions digestible and understanding to a generation that's going to need that understanding. Like, at some point, you know, Hong Kong is going to be absorbed, and you have a whole generation of people after that that aren't going to know how to deal with that or understand what all that means. And this is a game that really digs into that
man.
shit.
Oh.
But
I like it.
If
That's a ringing endorsement.
I'll wrap up by saying that as silly as this sounds, I think this game's important.
I think that's silly.
I think it's important because of what it's saying and what it's showing, and I think that from a storytelling perspective, it is doing things with the interactive medium that I've not seen anybody handle with such grace and such a honed and perfected pen. Like,
I don't think it's silly at all to mention games as being important, since games are one of the biggest things that we can tell stories in without getting our wires crossed or folding inwards to some think machine or whatnot. I think games are one of the best mediums to tell these kind of stories, because it's not you're just reading it, it's not you're just watching it, you're actually in it in a lot of situations. You are experiencing what your character is experiencing. So having real life situations like that and trying to pass on the understanding of how important it is to us that what we lost here today is something that's going to haunt us for the rest of our lives. But how do you say that without hurting the next generation? That is a amazing thing to think about there.
it's just an amazing piece of work, top to bottom. And it is like the game on my list that I am asking everyone to play. Please play 1,000
I
times.
might have
and
to,
I am
Polly.
sorry for talking so long.
Gotta play this one. Gotta play this one. That fucking trailer. I'm gonna play this one. Yeah. No, this one's been on. It's just nonsense.
It
but I haven't
sounds
played
incredible.
I've been meaning to get to that.
it. No, but like there's like I've been meaning to get to that. Like I don't know. It'd be really funny if I had like a good like a funny example right off the cuff. But this is like a no. Seriously, God,
Yeah.
It's like this and Death of a Wish. Or like no, seriously, John, you gotta get down.
What are you
gotta
doing?
Do this.
What
What are you fucking doing? You clown.
Sorry for going so long there. That is a game
fine.
that
No,
is
you
just,
gotta. It's number 2.
that is a game that is so big. Like I said, it's
Triple
enormous
double.
what it's doing, but I think it is all very digestible. What I said probably sounded like a fucking word salad to most people.
No, I got
Once you
everything
play
you were
it, I think it
saying.
will completely click. It's like,
I didn't
oh,
think she
no,
talked
I
that
get
long
what
about
this is
it.
doing.
I think she was just
Yeah,
been a
Okay,
nice
yeah, this is very important.
explanation of what happens.
So sorry about that.
Don't be.
Not a problem.
Listener list. John, I do believe you have one from somebody
I
named
do.
Cecile.
I haven't looked at this yet. Oh, I just opened it. Yes. Oh, that makes me happy. This is a list from Cecile/Zelaz. Honorable mention goes to Seabed, which I played with John this year. Would easily be in this year's top 3 if I hadn't already made it my number 1 a few years ago.
Ha.
Number 3, Love Yourself. Finally, Kaizo for the rest of us. I've had a lot of fun watching John slowly break into Kaizo ROM hacks, but this game showed me that with a little practice, I can enjoy these kinds of games as well.
No, what Polly was talking about there was 1000X Resist was the game she was explaining there. This is... Unless you're joking, of
Oh,
course.
so nice.
I'm probably
Number 2,
peanutly
Anthology of a
joking.
Killer.
Anthology of a
I've had this much fun
Killer
exploring
again.
3D spaces since my last Super Mario 64 playthrough. Some
No.
absolutely inspiring.
No
90s
Rika
esque visual
Farude
design
on the
paired
list
with
here,
wonderful
except for my
comedic
honorable
writing and some
mention, I
unsettling
think.
camera tricks make every episode of the series a slightly blood-tinged delight.
Nice. Upscaling blow.
Number 1, Chorus Gaiden, Priestess of the Forgotten Hero. When I made Daisy Goes to Slime Castle for T last year, I admit I geared a lot of its content towards things that reminded me of John and things I felt John would be impressed by. I similarly felt like Chorus Guide was similarly geared towards my tastes. Hands down, the best erotic writing I've run into a game in this year, combined with emotionally resonant story of self-discovery. I love this entire gasp, but I especially love the math nerd spider girl Elder God. Thank you. Oh, you Cecile. I love you.
Aww.
I think I felt like I felt like there was maybe a little more of a vein in the Sox community of people wanting to read about elf girls dying.
Yeah,
than there actually was.
maybe a
But
little.
I got to watch Cecile play it and have this huge fucking grin at her face and have a really, really nice time. So I still feel real good about it. That's one of my favorite stories I've worked on.
Yeah.
I'll
Get
I'm
to
really
it,
glad
I
it was
promise.
so good.
It's just the mood's gotta find.
The mood's gotta find you.
Yeah, no, I
It's
100%
kinda
feel that.
probably.
100% feel that. Mood's gotta
I'm
find
here
me.
for it. I'm ready.
Yes.
Alright, Course Gaiden also tied with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I noticed that Anthology of the Killer
The
really
killer
making
is
a
starting to kind of. Let's
say
put it
it
4
at the end.
now.
It's at 3, I think.
At least it's 3, yeah.
Right.
Analogy of a
Sorry,
killer, huh?
I think, and then it's just-
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's ahead of almost all of them.
That's crazy.
It's tied with Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and East 10.
Yeah, baby.
Fuck yeah! All right.
I
what's
always
your
known when.
What's
So
your number 2?
my number 2.
Let's
Ooh,
do it, Red.
number 2.
Like Polly, I also have been thinking of flipping my top 2.
Oh yeah.
This actually was number 3 at the start of the day, but I decided to move it
Oh
up. And then
damn.
I'm
Almost a 1
sorry,
then.
Outer Wilds, you got bumped. We've talked a lot about it. My number 2 is UFO 50.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go.
So,
I love UFO 50.
God, I don't know. I know we've talked a lot about this one. I have something different to say.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
because you played it differently. You played the long ones.
Yeah.
It's not even that. I'm not
Yeah?
talking about the games at all.
Oh,
But I'm also very tired from talking. I'm like trying to sort my thoughts
All
out when
right.
we've been doing
All
this for
right.
like 6 hours.
We've been going.
I
Mhm.
can't talk about what I like about UFO 50 without spoilers.
oh my God! Is it the actual?
The
I can't
actual
believe it.
meta
Someone,
game?
The metagame.
someone actually engaged because nobody's fucking talking about
I
whatever.
Nobody
Nobody
fucking
literally
talks
not
about
seen
it.
anybody talk about
I
the
haven't seen a
terminal
word
shit.
about it.
I know Braylif did it because I kind of
We just did it a few days
tiny
ago.
bit,
Uh-huh.
like watching their progress. So the thing about UFO 50 is that there's not 50 games.
There's 51.
There's 52.
52.
Yeah.
I guess
kinda thought
52,
that was the
okay.
thing.
So
Yeah, I guess that would make
UFO
sense. 'Cause
50
Action
itself
52.
is the zero game
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
because in-universe explanation is that they made 50 games and then the 51st game they made was the 50 game compilation.
Oh.
Ah.
I know it's so simple when you think about it, but then
fucking duh!
because when you boot the game up, there's the fake hacker BIOS thing.
Yeah, the hacker bio shit.
But then when you actually start the game and get to the title screen, UFO 50, copyright 1989.
1989. Oh my
You're
god.
right.
That was made.
There.
It was
I
in
never thought
universe.
about that. Holy shit,
then-
dude.
There's an actual 51st game hidden in there.
Uh-huh, the
And
metagame.
apparently maybe way too well hidden in there
Oh.
because nobody finds it, nobody talks about it.
I only found it a few
Really,
days ago.
Toad cherried all 50 games,
And still
I,
didn't find it?
and I guess they have not found it.
I didn't.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't.
I feel like they would have mentioned it at this point.
I would
I
have.
don't think that it involves farting around with the terminal, right?
There's a lot of terminal stuff.
Yeah.
I
like,
never
don't
looked
think
through the
Toad's been
explanation
farting
and
with
tried the
at
terminal.
all.
It's crazy.
I can't believe this.
They maybe hid this a little too well, but it,
I'm over here and I was like, this is not greater than the sum of its parts. It is exactly the sum of its parts.
and I'm over here going, here's why UFO 50 is greater than
fucking meta game bullshit. Oh, damn it.
I love metagame bullshit. I was fucking around with the console while
Magic
playing
Garden?
Dark
Oh,
Day
yeah.
one and stumbled
Yeah.
Oh,
into
the
something.
garden.
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Day one, I was in the 51st game.
Yeah, it was not hard to kind of get into that.
Day
if
one,
you
I was in
were
the
looking into the
51st
right
game.
places or looking at the terminal at the right time.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So
I like
there
that. That's a
was
good
discussion
number
towards the
2.
start when this game came out. Like, the developers straight up said, "We made 50 games because they couldn't be sold on their own."
Yeah.
That was like kind of like the side John backed.
Yeah.
And then Polly was really impressed by how there's this whole layer of like narrative behind the UFO Soft company and like, how
Yeah,
all these
I think
games
it's
are connected.
great. Hell yeah.
And I am firmly on that side now because of what the 51st game is.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I should just say it.
Yeah.
Polly, have you played this at all?
I've not done this, no.
Oh, okay. The 51st game is a thing that one of the developers snuck into UFO 50 without the company
Yeah.
knowing.
Mm-hmm.
It is like an autobiographical tale of what it was like to work at UFO Soft.
Mm-hmm.
It is an airing of dirty laundry.
It's
for a
really
fictional
good.
Company
It's
30
really good.
years ago. And it's kind of scathing.
Oh, this is so good!
'Cause then
UFO
the-
50 is the game that
it
keeps
is
on
like the
giving.
company on the brink of collapse because apparently, as far as we know, they did collapse immediately after UFO 50.
Yeah.
So this game takes place between the release of Cyber Owls and UFO,
And UFO
50.
50, yeah.
This was so whoever made combatants, they're responsible, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Combat Ants is like part of the meta narrative story where it is very directly attributed to Tao Nemaru, like the executive lead at the time. God, I'm trying to think of how to order this as logically as possible. Basically,
I can't believe you're really revealing this all to us in real time in the podcast.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
so
this is
funny.
great.
I mean, I'm having a ball because we get to react authentically.
It's just it's hard to talk about without spoiling too much. I'll try to show you guys how to get to this later.
Okay. Fuck.
Basically,
Thankfully, it's not hard to get to.
50 games, or mostly the ones in the middle, they have a very, very light narrative.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like you beat the game, you get like 2 credit screens and then a cute little credit roll.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to drill down on what the themes of I think what this game is trying to say is. Like, the credit rolls, they seem really cute and quaint at the start, but apparently, like, through the games, they start to change. Like, at a certain point, the executive producer, Tao Nemru, is, like, the headlining name.
Right.
And, like, giving himself top credit, like, consistently.
Oh, that's something you just kind of see that the whole
It's so fucking subtle.
Wow.
I think like the last 3 or so games, he's top credit and full name, and everyone else is
like
just initials.
Yeah, just initials. Yep.
I never thought about that. That's amazing.
It's a scathing critique of this one executive that bought the company at some point.
And
And
just
he
took
is
credit for
back
everything.
guy. It's his fault. I told you.
And that's why they made one game in this collection bad on purpose and then blamed it on him.
That's so funny.
So, like the two
That's
like, meta-narratives, I
amazing.
think,
Holy
or, like,
shit.
themes of this game that I think are important are credits in games are important.
They are, absolutely.
Because this game is like showing you in multiple ways like how the work that these people made was kind of being erased as the company progressed. And it's a weird like double standard because we don't know for sure which people
They
actually
deliberately
made
hid that.
the-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like it's fucking crazy, right? We don't know who actually made these games specifically.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of talk about like the Underwell or the
The Downwell
Downwell,
dude. Yeah.
the Downwell dude working on this. We think we know which game he made,
Sure.
but I don't think they've actually put that out there.
God,
No,
that's so weird. I
they
didn't
haven't.
realize that.
That's
And the fact that the game has like, supporting
wild.
evidence to, hey, this is kind of fucked up when you
Yeah.
start hiding the developers' names is wild.
That's some of the coolest
Oh my
shit.
God.
And I think
How is
Weird
UFO
fucking thing.
50
What a weird
still
thing to
getting
exist.
cooler?
seeing people like I've seen like the fan wikis try to associate who made each
Who
game.
made what? Yeah.
And I think the fact that like people are trying their best to figure out who should be credited for each game is further validation of its themes.
Yeah.
100 fucking
Because it's making
percent.
people care about who created these
100%.
games.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really fucking
That's
clever.
That is
Very-
genius.
Oh,
Holy
man,
shit.
He's pretty fucking rad, dude.
It's really this is why it almost
That's
was
genius.
Because I think in terms of how this meta narrative tied together,
Oh my
and made me
God.
emotional, was really
Thank you,
caught me
Red.
the fuck
Holy
off
shit.
guard.
Yeah, like this is something
That
that has
was-
become a major thing
Yeah.
in the AAA space these days of when people leave companies before a game ships. Or like in the last month or so, they just get their credit removed, like for no fucking reason.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah,
so
yeah,
bad.
of course, because companies are
just list
complete
everybody that currently
shitheads.
works
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, like
who actually
and,
worked
and
on.
of course, like
What's
all
up,
of the
Creep and
shit that
Death?
happened back in the day, and like when
Yeah.
people would only be credited
Mhm,
with just
mhm.
Oh, yeah,
pseudonyms.
Adventure
And-
come
and
to
like
mind.
The whole pseudonym era.
And that was done to quote unquote prevent headhunting of talent, but it also just strips people of credit. It
Any,
also
like,
just makes
yeah.
them not,
It's
you know,
bullshit.
It might serve one function, but it's also you are very obviously also doing this so that they can't just go do
Yeah,
something else.
so they don't have their own,
Yeah, so the last few games in this having only initials for credits is like
It's
a
fucking
callback to
brilliant.
That really shitty practice
Yep.
of trying to hide who made these games. Like you can only figure out who did it because of all the other games. Like the same names keep showing up.
Yeah,
over
the
and
same
over.
names keep showing up. I think you could probably even tie it to
Thank
shit
you,
like
Creep and
say,
Death.
similar sound effects being used and shit.
Yeah,
Or things like that.
yeah, because all of those developers are characters in the last game that you get to talk to.
Really cool.
I never thought
It's all
about
very
that.
like cutesy characters of like animals and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, you talk about the meta quest.
But I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
like people have tried to draw like connections to like real world equivalents, like, oh, this guy is,
Oh God.
Derek,
and
you?
I don't think those line up at all.
No.
That seems like a stretch.
Yeah.
That's beginner's guiding.
Oh my
Oh
God.
God.
Yeah.
All right, that's where we're going to stop it for today. We're going to end the podcast tomorrow. We got another hour to go there. Rika, it's been a hell of a day of rolls today. Like, holy crap. We had 4, 5, 6 rolls today. 4 of them. Never had that happen before. We still don't have a Nipah, though, unfortunately. We looked at... Oop. Hello, what are you doing? There you go. If we look down... We look down here, we have 33 straights, 21 four houses, 86 triple doubles, 16 double triples, and 4 keep rollins. Now we're trying Skilling Blow. I'll actually try it one of these days. But that is it for today's Daily Nipah. If you'd like to join us, socksmadepeoplesexy.itch.io. If you'd like to listen to the podcast, that is the same location. socksmakepeoplesexy.net/sockscast at that point. We're going to be finishing out tomorrow, but there's also going to be an anime of the year. There's an album of the year out if you like to listen, if you're more of a music person. These people know great about music. I'm not such a music head, but they know their shit, so it's worth looking into. And 2,400 Fates in, not bad start so far. But this has been your Daily Nipah, YouTubers. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that so very much. Please like and subscribe. I'd also appreciate that. Positive vibes, y'all, and have a wonderful night.